This is Sam Stone, CBR, by the way. So, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. A little harried. I'm gonna get some coffee after
I
this.
I am the exact same. So we're meeting each other right now, halfway.
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. We just have to meet cross town. Uh, well, let's dive right in. And I'm not just blowing smoke when I say this, but this is honestly my favorite performance of yours, like as Allison,
Thank you.
precisely because well, there's so much more. As much as I love Shotgun Allison in Halloween Kills, like there's so much more to
Shotgun
the
Allison.
character. Yeah,
Yeah.
we see her at work, we see her in relationships. How was it like getting the script for this one?
I was really excited. It's really refreshing and I was briefed when I was filming Halloween Ends kind of when I was filming Halloween Kills, I'm sorry, what Halloween Ends was going to be a little bit, not all the details, but I knew kind of where we were gonna meet Allison and what she was gonna kind of embark on that journey. And it was really special that David kind of allowed for a space to explore this vision of kind of a stoic survivor-esque person that has a lot underneath, and we actually get a look underneath, which is really nice. And um, he allowed for a space for that in a film where you typically don't get that. And so I was very appreciative that we were able to kind of take the time and really craft an arc for her.
Sure. I mean, we've seen Allison run through the woods screaming. We've seen Shotgun Allison. What was it about like playing the character in her quieter moments? Like how what did you find surprising about finding Allison between Michael Myers showing up?
You you find the simplicity of just who she is at the core, which is a resilient person who's just trying really hard to be okay and to kind of live in accordance with the trauma she's endured without pretending like it doesn't exist, but kind of figuring out a way to embrace it and move forward in a way that's healthy and find solitude and peace and happiness. And that's part of the reason I think she's so drawn to Corey is they kind of both kind of can connect on that and
Mhm.
see each other for what they really are.
Well, speaking of Corey, I mean, the connection's right there from the first scene. She's immediately like, this is the guy. Do you remember like meeting Rowan and kind of finding that chemistry like on set as you're developing your performances together?
Yes, so Rowan was cast well before Halloween Kills came out. So we knew each other for a while, about a year before we started filming. And so we were really able to craft an honest friendship, and we luckily got along very well. David, I remember when I met Rowan before he was cast, I met him in what was kind of a screen test chemistry test situation, but via Zoom because it was pandemic days. I don't even know if we really read the material. I think we did at the end very briefly, but David just kind of like threw us in the room and let us kind of talk, and he wanted to kind of witness what this was and see if we bounced off of each other in the way that he kind of hoped. And the energy that you feel is kind of a natural rapport, and then being able to have the privilege of time to just sink in. And then once we're down in Savannah, we had a couple weeks of rehearsal where we were really able to go through each scene at length and work on it and really collaborate and break every scene down so that we could build them up together kind of in the moment is what was so fun. And working with Rowan is a blast. Each scene was kind of each take of each scene was completely different than the one before, and so it was really a blast making the movie and seeing the final product of it.
In terms of like David Gordon Green, I mean, you've been working with him for the better part of 5 years now, somewhere thereabouts. Like, what is your creative shorthand with him? Like, how much like latitude do you have with each other as you're finding the performance or the scenes in the moment?
There's such a shorthand in terms of communication, and there's a level of if you do a take and then he comes over and I'm like, I think I know what you're thinking. It's like and you can kind of just read the mind a little bit. He also is incredibly collaborative, and one of the things that we did a little bit of rehearsal for Halloween 2018. Halloween Kills was such a monumental movie that there wasn't much time for it. So we didn't really do much rehearsal there. But this one, we did the most amount of rehearsal that we've ever done, and we were able to really just be in a room together and talk through everything and craft everything together. We had countless phone calls leading up to filming. This was probably the first one where we really collectively made this choice together. So by the time we got to set, it was a lot of just, all right, let's leave all of that work behind and throw it out there and kind of find our way through it together.
Sure. The one person, of course, that we haven't talked about yet is Jamie Lee Curtis, who's, getting the spotlight panel today at New York Comic Con. I guess
Are you going?
couple doors down. Yeah, I'll be around. So with that in mind, I mean, by my math, you've worked with her more than any other actor, though my math is always suspect. But yeah, what are some of the lessons that you've taken away in, creating this like grandmother, granddaughter relationship together across 3 movies?
It's what's funny is that this film, I've worked with her so much more than I did in either of the previous 2. And kind of like how I was saying with David, this film, we really were able to take the time and sink in and be together and kind of collaborate and build these relationships together, which was really refreshing. The thing about Jamie is that she is an icon, she's a legend, and she embodies it. And she leads by example. When she walks on a set, she has such grace and poise and class and generosity and kindness and strength and character. I mean, she runs the gamut of adjectives, and she is the personification of a movie star to me. And so I've learned countless things from her of how to carry yourself on a set, how to collaborate with your actors. She's incredibly generous as a scene partner, and she could easily have made it feel like, this is my house, it's Halloween, I'm Laurie Strode, and it never felt that way. She was always so welcoming and looked at you as a peer and a colleague that she would see eye to eye on.
Now that, this is the end of a Halloween era, like looking back at it, what was the one big thing you wanted to do with Allison, maybe in this film, that you didn't maybe necessarily have the chance to explore because Kills hits the ground running? And I mean, 2018 is just bananas. But yeah, like what was something that you wanted to explore really with Ends?
I think that we were able to explore a quieter side of her that we haven't seen in the previous 2 movies, and we're seeing a kind of grown-up side of her, which is really nice. And that's something that I wanted to take seriously in terms of making sure what we were dealing with was authentic to what would be actually happening, with the way that kind of the cracks start to emerge and what's underneath and kind of how she has processed this trauma over the years. I really tried to not leave any stone unturned, and part of the beauty of filmmaking is the ability to have, we shoot so many takes, we shoot so many things, a lot ends up on the cutting room floor. There's only one take that really gets, I mean, you know how it's edited together, but essentially one take that gets kind of, the scene takes shape, but that doesn't negate all of the other versions of the scene that did happen in the exploration process. So from a personal standpoint, I feel very, very satisfied and very at peace because I was able to explore all of these things, even if the audience might only get this version of it. So from like a personal standpoint, I feel very at peace with the resolution.
Right on. And that is my time. Halloween Ends in theaters and on Peacock October 14th. This is Sam Stone with CBR. Andi, thanks for taking the time to sit with me.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.